Tonight on Bog Panda, we are going to discuss the forgotten, not classic, Son of Dracula. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly at KELLYTHUL on social media. And joining me, as always,
I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave a comment, send me thoughts and prayers because if you can't tell from my voice, I'm in COVID round 2 right now and the sequel sucks. Then you're going to want to hit up the merch store, buy as much merch as you can because obviously I need it for medical bills or whatever. And you know what? Come back, leave some more comments, then listen to Hard No, the world's shortest podcast. You can listen to like 100 episodes of it right now for free with your free subscription to this. That's double free.
all I have to say is, physician, heal thyself. so, so yeah. It would be so. Is it super bad? Is it like you're going to maybe die while we're recording it bad and we'll get a ton of views bad?
No, unfortunately. I would if I felt like I was dying and we were set up to record, though, I would do it for you.
Okay. Well, even if we're not set up to record, if you feel like you're dying, give me a call. So I'll set something up. We'll do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. I want the lights on though for that one, just so we can kind of go. And here's where he went. That would be awesome. So oh boy, this guy is something else. It's during the October of the Halloween season, we like to kind of do a lot of related content, and Mike had identified Love Bites as a game that we could enjoy and all that, and Night of the Demon, of course. So we've had some pretty good stuff there. So I countered those fine offerings with Son of Dracula, which I had never watched. I was aware of it because I'm a big Harry Nilsson fan, and had heard many things of it. And on the wonderful "Who's Harry Nilsson? Why is everybody talking to him about him?" bio film that's out there. Fantastic. You absolutely need to watch that, folks. They make some mention of this, and it's not in a good light when they talk about it. And I probably should have heeded their warning. But this little chestnut, this is not to be confused with the 1943 Son of Dracula with Lon Chaney.
Which,
And
when
it
you
couldn't.
first suggested it, that's what I thought you were talking about.
No, if only, if only. Um, but this was as the Beatles were in the process of breaking up or broke up, but Apple was still a going concern. Ringo fancied himself a movie producer. He did something with T-Rex, and then there was this one because he's buds with Harry Nilsson. And this is what you get when you have two alcoholics basically in charge of a movie. And it's a thing, folks. You gotta check it out. Now, gonna caveat it because if you do a search, trying to find, I don't know, maybe you'd want a DVD copy of this, or maybe you'd be willing to spend $2.99 to stream it on Amazon Prime. Nope, that's not going to happen because very rightfully so. I think Ringo figured out this is something that really needs to be hidden and hard to get to. So there are very, very, very few ways. I guess it had a VHS release, limited, but that was about it. So you're not going to find it, at least yet, on anything. I guess you can find a DVD of it at some point, but what you're going to find with this DVD is what Mike and I watched, which is someone had the VHS and a pretty crappy VHS player, and they ripped it and put it up on YouTube. So there's actually a couple versions on YouTube. I feel a little bad. Well, I sent Mike a link, so I'm assuming that's probably the version you watched.
Yes.
I got into. So was that the version you watched?
Yes, it is.
I got a few minutes into it. I'm like, wow, there's like big problems with this. I'm gonna go see if there's another one. So I brought up another one. It was the high res version of the DVD rip. So they almost start to look like anime characters with some of the smoothing and resing up. But it was a little sharper. So I end up watching that. But all the other problems, like the first jump scare, is completely ruined by the old school kids back in the day when VCRs, and you might be recording them onto a digital medium. If you lost signal, you get a blue screen for a little while. You get to see a fair amount of blue screen on what's available on YouTube. And we will include a link to both the crappy version I sent Mike and the slightly less crappy version that I found.
I was going to say, is there a non-crappy version of this movie, though?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, not only in terms of quality of a recording, but yeah, I can't change the movie. Sorry. But fidelity wise, there's a really poor fidelity and then just poor fidelity. So we'll include both of those links, as well as there is a what I found to be a kind of an excellent review of the movie, a very detailed review of the movie that I got, gave me some insights on things that I had missed. So we'll include a link to that as well. But you folks are going to get to hear Mike and I talk about it, which is a thing. So once you realize this was not a Lon Chaney classic, and it started, what were your initial thoughts?
So you've already cleared up one thing for me by saying that you've never seen this movie before, because I didn't realize that going into it. When it started, and when you had initially said it, I was thinking the Lon Chaney movie, and then you mentioned the year, so I was like, all right, not that movie. And when it started, you could tell right away there was at best a TV movie quality level that we were looking at here, from the camera placement and movements and things like that. It was clear they were working with one camera on a tripod, which is very TV kind of movie setup. So a lot of times you don't get a lot of camera movement, and the camera movement that you do get in old TV movies is zooms and pans. So they don't actually have to move the camera. They're just zooming in and panning on things. There's a lot of that. So I was like, all right, TV movie style. And it was clearly low quality. And I know you like bad sci-fi movie flicks and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. But as it got further into it, I was like, Kelly likes this movie. Like, Night of the Demons is campy, but like, I like that movie.
I liked parts of this movie. Very few parts of this movie. I'm always, Harry's no longer with us. So any opportunity to kind of see him in action's usually nice, but not so much Harry Nilsson, the actor, but the performer. And this is the one thing, is that Nilsson never really performed a lot, because he somehow thought people were not going to enjoy it. And the guy had what I still think is one of the most amazing voices ever. He was also a very gifted songwriter, so I think it was kind of not well-placed concern, but he didn't perform much. So you actually get as close as you're going to get to seeing Harry Nilsson live here, and you get a good dose of it. You get about four, actual performances. You get three kind of performances, and you get about five songs, and so it's heavily well represented, which are the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Fairly disconnected to the continuation of the plot.
Also,
beyond
yes.
The character is there, but that's about it. You get,
also, I think you're using the word plot incorrectly.
Yeah, I think you're right. The well, it's not even a narrative. It's just things, and
kind
then
of a story.
Yeah, and some of it, is, so this was not captured off that, so first of all, you start with that high VHS quality we all know and love, and then I'm guessing, obviously, with the problems with the VCR kicking out from time to time, it wasn't probably a great machine. Probably the heads need to be cleaned significantly on it, so it's, the volume's not great on it, the clarity's not great, and man, there are sections that are so dark, and not dark in the fun kind of scary way, dark as in Game of Thrones night at Winterfell, the long night at Winterfell dark, where you're like, okay, is that an animal? No, maybe, no, it's a flower. No, what, I'm not sure what that is. So there are several basically 2-minute long sections where you're just like, yeah, something's happening, I think. Well, not really, because not a whole lot happens in the movie, but you're unable to tell the progression of it. Um, but so there's a bit of issues there, and neither Ringo or Harry really. I don't think they were put up for any awards for their performances.
No, no. I will say though, because I was reading up after I watched it, I was like, all right, I have to look into this a little bit. And of course, I saw the Apple logo in the beginning. So this is, an official Beatles product because it was released through Apple. And apparently they never found a proper distributor for it. So it's only had like sporadic releases and things like that. So, but it's never been picked up for distribution ever officially. Um, that surprises me, honestly, even though this is a very low quality movie. Let's not beat around the bush there. It still surprises me though, because I would argue the other Beatles movies aren't that much better than this.
And they don't have
So,
Harry in it. So you
and
thought,
those were widely distributed. So it does kind of surprise me that this didn't get picked up for distribution.
yeah, and the funny thing, I don't know if it's funny. Well, it definitely wasn't funny, but the interesting thing was you can never really figure out are they trying to go for straight horror? Are they trying to do campy? And you kind of think, yeah, they're trying to do campy, but they never really do. So it's like,
No, yeah, it does feel really uneven. And I didn't research this at all, other than the Wikipedia page that I read about it mentioned also that the movie was shelved before it was ever screened. It was shelved for like a couple of years. And during that time, Ringo had the idea, because even he knew the movie was so bad, he had the idea of going back, hiring a scriptwriter to rewrite the whole movie using their existing footage, and they would just re-record all the dialogue. So basically piece together a new movie out of the footage that they had with overdubbed dialogue. That was at one point their desperate Hail Mary idea for this.
couldn't hurt. Worth a shot.
Yeah, I don't know that it would have been much worse.
Yeah, and there are more. I guess spoiler alert, folks. We're gonna ruin Son of Dracula for you, as if that's possible. But there's some times where it's so ham-handed what they ended up doing, and I think Ringo actually was the person that edited this movie. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that may be the case. But there are things. So your cast of characters are Merlin, who's wearing cosplay
Yeah, I was
Spirit
gonna say
Halloween.
store-bought Halloween costume.
Yep, it's got the pointy hat with the stars and moon on it, and not particularly impressive quality. I thought Nilsson's Dracula stuff was decent. His cape, he had a good cape, so
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
part was good. But then there is Baron Frankenstein, who has the most, even in the low quality of the resolution of it, you could tell without a doubt this man has 40-pound eyebrows. This is these massive ledges of hair over the top of his head, which he furrows with great regularity, which knocks lamps over and stuff like that, because these things are massive. But he's Baron Frankenstein, and I think later it was hard to read the plate because, again, everything was incredibly dark. But I think at some point he was Dr. Baron Frankenstein, which was like, can you do that? And I figure, you're a man of many titles. I don't know if you go by
It's true. It's true.
Dr. Duke, whatever, but
it does on one of my IDs. It says Sir Michael Belinsky. So
you could be Dr. Sir lies a lot. Anyway, so
I'm allowed. So my understanding of it is that legally I can have Sir, which I already do on one of my IDs, and I can also have the Honorable, because I was technically mayor for a day. So I'm legally allowed to use that. I don't know if you can use them together or if they'll just, tell me no if I try it.
So do I have to start introducing you as the Honorable Reverend Sir Dr. Mike?
I think so.
That's
I
a
think
lot. That is a whole lot. But yeah, so he may have been Dr. Barron towards the end. I'm not 100% sure, because again, I couldn't read the plate that was there. But
well, at some point during the movie, he finished medical school. And there's a deleted scene somewhere of that of his graduation and a party, and I'm sure of it.
Has to be without a doubt. Um, but he's the, again, folks, spoilers of something that cannot be spoiled. I don't further, but he's the bad guy, and so at the, we get at the beginning of the movie, a Nosferatu knockoff, Dracula, not too bad compared to some of the other prosthetics later. Probably one of the better jobs they did. But he gets taken out by a really annoying short little guy. And while you never see him, the individual that actually stabs and kills Dracula before the little short guy jams a ball of garlic in his mouth, which I thought was cold. But you see this really big kind of canoe shaped ring on this guy's finger, that if you're paying attention and can see it, because it's, again, everything's dark, but you see there's that ring. And then later, because they want to make sure you connect the dots, there's an actual scene where he's shooting Dr. Baron Frankenstein behind a desk or something. And as they start to kind of pan out, they turn around and do an iris effect and basically pull the whole screen black except for a circle in the middle on the ring. So it's like, see the ring? Remember the ring from before? This is the bad
We know
guy.
we have deluged you with so much plot that you're going to forget this.
That's right. This was, given the wheels within wheels that this movie has, are like, people are maybe not going to know. So, hey, it was just like, looky. So that was special. Yeah, matter of fact, when I say special, the special effects here are a sight to behold. And the honorable Reverend Sir Dr. Mike mentioned before, that I like the bad science fiction movie and the kind of hokey effects and the bad CGI and all that, but this was just sad. This was the bat flying outside the window early in I think it was a bat, maybe could have been a goat, not sure, but it was bad. His transformation towards the end, when Amber, his love interest, realizes he's confessed that he's a vampire to her, and there's a cross involved and different problems, but he needs to do a quick conversion and get out of there. And it's one of the saddest conversions to a bat I've ever seen in a vampire movie, but that's the way it goes on that. So yeah, so the acting was bad. At least one of the sets was good, I thought. So that was nice. What's your favorite part of the movie, Mike?
It's hard to pin down. I think it's the first performance though of Dracula in the bar, only because I at that point didn't know where this was going. I mean, it made sense. It's a Beatles produced movie and it has, musicians in it. So it made sense. Of course, there's going to be performances in it, but it comes further into the movie than you would expect for that kind of thing. It's probably at least 20 minutes, 25 minutes into it when you get the first performance. So if it had come sooner, it wouldn't have caught me off guard. But because we were so far into it, it was kind of a surprise and a detour from, let's say, not the greatest plot up until that point.
Yeah, and those are the best parts of the movie, with without a doubt. There's some meta stuff where so Harry put out a Son of Nilsson album that Ringo was unaware of and hadn't connected the dots on this, which it seems unfortunate. But he at one point sees it, and and you could tell they were doing everything they could to elongate this movie. We got to get to an hour and a half somehow. So they're like, we're going to show a bunch of signs in downtown London, a lot of signs for a super long time.
Yeah, that downtown scene, it's like 4 or 5 minutes of Harry Nilsson walking around downtown, just showing, as Kelly said, signs, him walking, people walking by him. It's pretty egregious padding.
Yeah. And I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on a lot of things, but I'm unwilling to when he sees the Son of Nilsson album in a window. And again, they never really give you the dots. Somewhere earlier on, he goes, yeah, I like all kinds of music. That's been a big passion of mine. So is he I don't know if he's a performer or not, but he sees the album. But when he goes into that bar before that first big performance, he turns down a drink and a cigarette, which, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief, but that's not something that Harry would do. So it kind of took me out of the movie at that moment to see. But it
It shows his acting range.
that's right, which was a very monotonish delivery of everything. I'm in love with you. Just I just think he was kind of hungover, doing the best he could. But you do get a version of Frankenstein, a little cameo from Medusa, a mummy. You get that outstanding Wolfman from there. A big reveal at the end, which we won't spoil for you because it's magic to kind of see. Van Helsing is kind of a differently abled Colonel Sanders in a wheelchair would be my rough guess on that. But it was all very strange. I guess one of the things that we can say is this is a movie that features two of the greatest drummers there ever were, with no plot connection, but it's just in the performances. So John Bonham is playing the drums in the first in the bar, and then right towards the end of the movie we get another, and I think that's the Jump in the Fire, Stand by the Fire, towards the end, and Keith Moon is there, which was nice. I was like, oh, Keith Moon.
I noticed you didn't say three of the greatest drummers of all time.
Yes, that's correct.
Because there's another drummer in this movie, Kelly.
Yeah, he didn't drum though.
He's a drummer though.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't want to go up against Bonham or Moon.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. He's a fine performer who happens to play the drums. Where Keith Moon and John Bonham are fantastic drummers, my opinion. So I don't think we have a lot of Beatle fans given some of your past commentary. So I think you've shooed those folks all away. And I guess I have gone after Mr. McCartney a little bit.
I was going to say, I feel like you're the more recent one.
Yeah, I've added a cherry to the sundae you created of anti-Beatle propaganda. But I've come in strong on Hard No, but it's a thing.
Free with your free subscription.
That's right. Double free. Check it out. But yeah, so folks, if you haven't seen this movie, I almost want to say don't, because or just be prepared that it's going to be possibly the longest 90 minutes you've ever spent in your life. And any version you're going to get is going to have the first jump scare completely ruined by the blue screen of VCR, and volume will be muddled, big sections of darkness, hard to really follow the plot exactly. So there's all that. So, but it was Harry Nilsson and Ringo Starr, and I'd heard it was a thing, and I heard it wasn't. I didn't think, I said, "Oh, it can't be that bad." And then as we go through, I'm like, "Man, I wonder if Mike's going to talk to me anymore after making him not only suffer through it, but suffer through it on a version. The quality of it is just also painful. So it's like, double pain. Double free. Here's double pain for you. So." But yeah, I did sit because it got done in 72, and then it didn't go anywhere until 74. I think it was this mad scramble of that. But boy, talk about Hollywood opportunity for a remake. Here you go. Because this was not a remake of the original Son of Frankenstein. But there is plenty of opportunity to remake this.
Yeah, there's room for improvement.
And I will say that Ringo is the best drummer that's still alive in this movie. So
You're positive that. Nobody else in this movie played drums?
Yeah, that could be. Maybe the Wolfman did. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a thing. But I thought it fit the theme. I wanted to see it. I wanted you to see it. Feel kind of bad I had you see it now, but it's a thing. Check it out or don't. Maybe not.
Bog Panda.